Let's talk about free software. And I don't mean free software, I mean free software. Is it clear now? No? Yeah, that's the problem. Hi, I'm Michael Tennell, and as a professional marketer, I think we need to ditch the term free software. Instead, we should use Libre software or Libre software because calling it free software is just not going to work. And we've had plenty of time to know that it's not going to work. So what is free software? Well, this term has two meanings. The meaning that 97% of the people on this planet know, and the meaning that the free software movement have promoted for many decades. For those that don't know, the term free software is about having software freedom so that you have the freedom to use and modify and distribute this software and all that sort of stuff. So it's more about the freedom of the not the software's freedom, it's more of your freedom to use the software as you please. So that's what the term is meant to be, but that's not the meaning that most people have for this term. So what's the problem? Well, free as in freedom software can be commercial and cost money, whereas proprietary software can be free, as in no cost. This means that free software as a term comes with confusion, assumptions, and a need for explanation. You know, as sales and marketing professionals, we use a rule about complexity of language. Basically, if you have messaging to explain something and you have to use additional words to explain that explanation, then you need to reword the original explanation because it's not doing its job. Free software requires additional explanation for people to know what you mean when you say it. Some people do it quickly as in freedom, not free as in beer, but it's not very clear either. In fact, a lot of the time, the people who know it to mean freedom also use the term to mean not costing anything when they are talking about an app or something with someone. So even the people who know what it means might use it for the other meaning too. The worst part of the term, though, is that people who don't know what it means will assume they do because it competes with a term that 97% of the population already has a meaning for. Also, freeware actually predates the term free software, not by much, but it still does, and freeware is what most people think it means, as in it software that doesn't cost any money. So what are the options instead of using free software? The first option is software freedom. This is better, but it's still kind of confusing. Now, some people will wonder maybe it's about the user's freedom, but it also like, well, what kind of freedom would software need? What does that mean? So there's still going to be some confusion there, but it is better because at least the people who don't understand it won't have an assumption that they do understand it. And that's like we have now with free software. The next one is, of course, open source. You've probably heard this term. I've said it many times, but I don't think it's the best one. It's better by a lot, but it's also esoteric and easily manipulated. For example, there's other things that make it seem like it's open source, but it's not, like source available or open core or many other terms that are used. And some use the term not really even knowing what its meaning is and accidentally say that they're open source when they're not. And that's the problem of the term being so esoteric, and you have no way to know what it means without looking it up. And also, even if you do look it up, unless you find the right documentation, there's misinformation about what it is meaning to, like the OCI definition or other people's definition of open source and all that sort of thing. There's a bit of a mess there too. The next one is Libre software. You've probably heard of Libre software before. It's not something I've invented or anything. There is still a bit of explanation needed for it, but a dictionary can explain it, at least to the most part. And also just, a quick search because it's very hard to manipulate that term. Open source can be manipulated because the term doesn't really mean anything on its own in regular language, whereas Libre software does mean something because Libre is a term that means liberty. And if you look it up, you're instantly going to go, oh, liberty. I don't really know exactly what you mean by this, but I understand that it's not a manipulatable thing, and it's not some kind of like confusion with free and free money and freedom and all that. So the value of this term is that it can't be co-opted like open source can be. and actually already has, as I talked about many times with the source available and all of that sort of stuff. It isn't automatically confusing, making people assume it's something that it isn't. And if they know what Libre means, then you don't even really have to look it up. But if they don't, they can look it up and easily find it because it's really hard to manipulate it. Now, I know some of you out there are thinking, what about the FSF? Do they need to change their name? Well, yes, they should, but they don't have to. If they don't want to change the name of the FSF, then don't. But stop calling the term free software and just use Libre software because it's better. Also, they should change it though, because the Foundation for Software Freedom explains what they want better, and you can still keep the FSF initials and the domain and all of that while also not creating a confusion, because a lot of people, I've had people literally say to me, oh, a foundation for free software, like because of the Free Software Foundation. I like free software, that's cool, but they mean that it doesn't cost anything. The fact that I have to explain that is another problem. In my opinion, the solution is Libre software. It avoids confusion, it's a simple term that's very hard to manipulate, and the only real debate about it is how to say it. The English way is to saying Libra, and the Spanish way is Libre. And just a quick side note, LibreOffice is pronounced Libra, not Libre. I didn't know that either, and I didn't even know there was a different pronunciation until I looked up how to say LibreOffice out of curiosity, and that is how you say it, LibreOffice. So there's going to be a debate about that, I guess, but other than that, and I feel like that's a debate that doesn't matter, and it still accomplishes what it needs to accomplish. So I welcome that debate. Now, when it comes to Libra/Libre software, there's a lot of great projects and apps, but there's also some that are becoming proprietary, sometimes because they feel like they are being taken advantage of. And you can check out this video right here to find out more about what's going on. And also, I shared an idea in there that I think will help those projects or any others that are considering using the same ill-advised path. Check it out.